Hi friends, this is Vidya. Welcome to my channel, Programming Languages. Now we are discussing about the topic SQL, that is Structured Query Language. Right? What you will get learning SQL. SQL gives unique learning and database handling techniques on structured query language, and will help you make better command over the SQL queries and to deal with these codes efficiently. Since SQL helps you to include the database creation, database or table deletion, fetching raw data, and modifying those data, etc. In parallel, SQL makes things automatic and smooth for end user to access and deal with the application's data easily. See here, SQL is a standard language for accessing and manipulating the database. Now, what is SQL? SQL is a structured query language which was originally developed by IBM. SQL is pronounced as SQL. SQL is a computer language for storing, manipulating, and retrieving the data in relational database. Like SQL lets you access and manipulate the databases. SQL is the standard language for relational database, that is RDBMS. SQL is an ANSI, American National Standard Institute standards. It will follows that. SQL is a standard, but although SQL is an ANSI, that is American National Standards Institute standards, there are many different versions of the SQL language. However, to be compliant with the ANSI standards, they all support at least the major commands of select, update, delete, insert, where in a similar manner. No, most of the SQL database programs also have their own proprietary extensions in addition to the SQL standard. Now let's go with the RDBMS, that is Relational Database Management System. RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. RDBMS is the basis for the SQL and for all modern database systems like MS SQL, that is Microsoft SQL Server, IBM DB2, Oracle, MySQL, and Microsoft Access. The data in RDBMS is stored in a database called as tables. A table is a collection of related data entries, and it consists of columns and rows. Using SQL, that is SQL, in your websites. To build a website that shows some data from a database, you will need the following: an RDBMS database programs like MS SQL, SQL Server, and MS Access, MySQL, a server-side scripting language like PHP or ASP, SQL, HTML, or CSS. Now, before going to this, let me explain about the history of SQL. SQL was developed in 1970 by Donald D. Chamberlain and Raymond F. Boise at IBM. First developed version is initially called as SQL, that is Structured English Query Language. Relational Software released a first commercial product called as System/R in 1979. The SQL acronym was later changed to SQL due to trademark conflict issues. Later, IBM started developing commercial products on SQL based on the prototype of system/R. Okay, now what SQL can do, right? SQL can create a new database. Its objects like tables, index, views, store procedures, functions, and triggers. SQL can alter the structure of the existing database. SQL can drop, that is delete, objects from the database. SQL can truncate. Truncate is nothing but remove all the records from the tables. SQL can comment to the data dictionary, and SQL can rename an object. SQL can select retrieve data from the databases. SQL can insert data into the tables. SQL can update existing data within a table. SQL can delete records from the database tables. SQL can grant revoke privilege of user in database. SQL is a special-purpose language to define and access and manipulate the data. SQL is a non-procedural, meaning that it describes the necessary component, that is tables, and desired results without dictating exactly how those results should be computed. Every SQL implementation sits atop a database engine whose job is to interpret SQL statements and determine how the various data structure in the database should be accessed to accurately and efficiently produce the desired outcome. And mainly it is the SQL language includes two distinct set of commands, that is data definition language and data manipulation language. Data definition language is a subset of SQL used to define and modify various data structures, and while the data manipulation language is subset of SQL used to access and manipulate the contain data contained within the data structure previously defined. Okay, see here SQL language statements. This is DML, DDL, DCL, TCL. Select, insert, update, delete in DML. DDL create, alter, drop. DCL grant, revoke. TCL begin, commit, rollback. SQL environment. Catalog, a set of schema that constitutes the description of the database. Schema, the structure that contains descriptions of objects created by a user, base tables, views, constraints, etc. Now, data definition language. Commands that define a database, including creating, altering, and dropping tables and establishing constraints. DML, data manipulation language, commands that maintains and query a database. Data control language, commands that controls a database, including administering privileges and committing data. See here. Data definition language. Here, create, alter, drop, truncate, rename. Data manipulation language. Insert, update, delete, merge. Data control language. Grant and revoke. Transaction control language. Commit, rollback, save point. Data retrieve language. Select. See here. DRL retrieves the data from the database, that is select. DML enters a new row, changes existing rows and removes unwanted rows from tables in the database respectively, that is insert, update, delete, merge. DDL sets up, changes and removes the data structure from the tables. Create, alter, drop, rename, truncate. TCL manages the changes made by the DML statement. Changes to the data can be grouped together into logical transaction, that is commit, rollback, save point. DCL gives or removes access rights to both the Oracle database and the structure within it. Grant, revoke. Now, how the query processing? Like the query optimizer checks inputs and determines the most efficient way to process the information and builds the query execution plan that consists of sequence in which the tables can be accessed and the methods used to get the information. See here. This is my query. It will be optimized query plan, database schema and distribution statics. DDL. DDL statements are used to define the database structure or schema. Create, to create the objects in the database. Alter, alter the structure of the database. Drop, delete the objects from the database. Truncate, remove all the records from a table, including all spaces allocated for the records are removed. Comment, add comments to the data dictionary. Rename, rename an object. DML. Statements are used for managing data within schema objects. Select, retrieve data from the database. Insert, insert data into a table. Update, updates existing data within a table. Delete, deletes all records from a table. The spaces for the records remains. Merge, upserts operation, that is insert or update. Call, call APL or SQL or Java subprogram. Explain plan, explain access path to path data. Lock table, control concurrency. DCL, data control language. Grant, gives user access privileges to the database. Revoke, withdraw access privileges given with the grant command. TCL, transaction control. Commit, save work done. Save point, identify a point in a transaction to which you can later roll back. Rollback, restore database to original since the last commit. Set transaction, change transaction option like isolation level and what rollback segments to use. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching this video. Press on subscription button. Thank you.